catch on fire.
And so I called the dumpster. I mean, I can understand if it's so nice. You know, let's come together. Services standing behind.
I want to thank you all for coming out. Is being here. That's the biggest step that you can take. We really appreciate your time. We will try to make this as concise as possible and stay on agenda as much as possible. We've asked these people, the public safety officers, to be here for an hour and a half, so we need to try to keep on a schedule here. We do have a lot to say. I'd like to welcome some of the officers. Chris Sutton with Conroe Independent School District Police Department, Scott Berlin with the Assistant Fire Marshal for the Montgomery County Fire Marshal's Office, Neighborhood Services Department. I really appreciate you coming out here. I'm going to try to get through this list of items that I'd like to give to you today, and then we're going to give the officers some time to talk with you. You can ask questions, and then after that we want to give about 30 minutes time for you to be able to just go up and talk with the officers if you have any information that you would like to share with them regarding that. Working together as a community is the biggest thing that we've got to do to combat this problem. We have about 80,000 residents. We have 22,000 homes in the Woodlands. We have 2,132 streets. We have approximately 40 Montgomery County Sheriff's officers in the Woodlands. We have approximately 30 deputies with the Constable's Department. We've got the Conroe Independent School District Police Department. Everybody wants to say maybe it's a teenager. We don't know that it's a teenager. It could be an adult, it could be a young person, it could be a teenager. Okay? I want to talk to you a little bit about what a suspicious person, a suspicious behavior looks like. People will ask us all the time, something does not feel right. We want you to know that it is absolute emergency numbers for that type of situation. Okay? If you need assistance, any public safety, medical, police, anything like that, then we want you to dial 9. Back to suspicious people. If you focus only on teenagers and it's not a teenager, somebody might be committing a crime right past you or right next to you and you don't even realize it. A great tool. If you've got students in Conroe Independent School District Police, the School District Police Department has created this for you and your student. It's an anonymous phone line. The child, and again, I'm not just focusing on teenagers. I don't want you to just focus on teenagers. However, we do spread the word. If we're seeing things going on, we need to be the ones to say, pick up the phone and call for help. Okay? One of the other things that we did.
It's tough. I'm your director for. Can everybody hear me? My name is Bruce Tough. I'm one of the directors for Cochran's Crossing. I'm elected. I serve as your representative on the Woodlands Community Association Board. Lauren Norton is also one of your elected directors. And this matter has our...
Going on with the arsons.
I'm going to be brief. I talk fast. Okay, starting with 4th of July, around 4th of July, Capstone Park, we've had about 20 fires in this general area of the Woodlands. That's park fires, house fires, the clubhouse was broken into, the traffic signals in front of the high school were burned, other vandalism. We've had 6 in this neighborhood alone since November, back up to about August, I guess. We're very concerned that the 6 in this neighborhood very well may be related, and it may be 1 or 2 persons that are doing it. As Kathy said, we don't know if it's teenagers or not. It might be, it might not be. What we need you guys to do is to give us as much information as you can. We're all parents. You need to know where your kids are at night. That's the main thing. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. If you think your kid has a fascination with fire, I need to know about it. If you think your neighbor's kid has a fascination with fire, we need to know about it. Rat them out, okay? That's the only way we're going to put a stop to this, if it is teenagers that are doing this. The Fire Marshal's Office has made these incidents. Sheriff's Department, the Constables, CISD, the Park Rangers, we're all putting in a good effort down here. We do have some leads, but we need more. This past weekend, there were 2 incidences that occurred. One right here in this neighborhood, an explosive device set on Miss Blunk's, wherever she is, it's in her front porch. Okay, many of them are first-degree felony offenses. We will prosecute. Okay, we're not pulling any punches here. Okay.
Oh, let's see, Scott. Let's do it around.
What are you going to ask me?
I want you to do basically the same thing. You kept turning from me. I couldn't get a good shot. You kept turning from me. Just basically run down the same thing we just went through a minute.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, your name?
I'm Scott Burlin, B-U-R-L-I-N, Assistant Fire Marshal of Montgomery County.
Okay. Scott, tell me a little bit what you said a while ago. Tell me what happened.
Starting 4th of July, we've had about 20 or so fires in this general area of the county. Many of those fires are suspicious or have been ruled arson. They include park fires, the break-in at the country club, some house fires. We've had more than one explosive device and other vandalism fires. In the last 2 or 3 months, we've had 6 fires right here in this neighborhood, all that either are suspicious or arson. Simply because these 6 fires in this neighborhood are so closely related in distance, we believe that these 6 may very well be tied together, possibly one person or a couple of people. They may or may not be tied to the other fires in the Woodlands. But I do want to say that the Fire Marshal's Office has made this a priority. We're working very diligently with all local law enforcement, as well as the Woodlands Fire Department, the Parks Division, and we are investigating all of these fires very diligently.
What, you had another fire, what, was past weekend? What was that, another arson over there on that one?
Yes, we had 2 fires this past weekend. One was an explosive device constructed out of fireworks, set on a resident's front porch and detonated. Front door was damaged. About 1.5 miles away, a few hours later, a house was broken into and burglarized on Shadow Point Circle, and it was set on fire, and it's a total loss, about a $500,000 fire.
Yeah, no suspects, no nothing yet.
At this time, we have no suspects on either one of those incidences, and we're not even saying that those 2 are tied together, 2 separate, totally different incidences. They may be tied together, they may not.
What can someone do? I mean, you've got, this group came together today from Cochran's Crossing out here. You had quite a few people out here for this.
This is a great turnout today. We're glad to see the residents be involved. Law enforcement in general here in the Woodlands, we depend greatly on the eyes and ears of the residents that live here. We can only do so much from the law enforcement point of view, but we've got to have the tips, we've got to have the phone calls, we need the information, so we just are asking people to contact law enforcement, either the Sheriff's Department or the Fire Marshal's Office, whichever is appropriate, and give us whatever information they may have on any crime that's occurred here in the Woodlands.
All right. Appreciate it, Scotty. Okay, your name?
My name is Laura Blunk.
Laura, spell your last name.
B-L-U-N-K.
Laura, you had the incident with the...
explosives.
Tell me a little bit about it.
Basically, we were awoken by the noise. When we came out of the bedroom, looking out our front door was flames. Luckily, our neighbors and my husband were able to put out the fire with hoses, but the trees were burning, green bushes, and the tree right next to the house was on fire. And the scariest was when they started on the biggest fire, which was in a flower bed. When they hit it with water, it spread. And the flames were about 25 feet high. And it's an unsettling thing because I was sound asleep and then have to immediately get into action to protect my home and my family and my belongings.
What do you think something like this, I mean, brought pretty much the whole neighborhood together after your incident? There's been several incidents in the Woodlands, and they had the fire this past week in the residential fire.
Well, actually, in my neighborhood, we had a fire set that destroyed a house over Thanksgiving. So for my particular neighborhood, we were already sort of on edge, looking forward to meeting the people, hearing the bigger picture, how many incidents there have been. I was actually relieved to hear that there had been other explosive devices used, because it means I wasn't singled out.
What do you think about all these people coming together? I mean, neighbors kind of watching after neighbors now.
But that's how it always has been up here. We've lived in our house 13 years. We've watched the kids grow up, houses get sold, new families come in. We know the friends. You know, it's going back to the big extended family. You know, 120 years ago, everybody knew everybody in the town they lived in. Half of them were related, cousins, second cousins, and we've made our own extended families.
Thanks.
All right.
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, first of all, name?
Jimmy Williams, Montgomery County Fire Marshal's Office.
You can tell me tomorrow morning or this morning, whatever you want to say. Friday's going to be a pretty bad day as far as weather.
Our weather predictions for Friday are that we're going to have a passing cold front. Right now they're not calling any significant rainfall, and after the front we should have humidity down as low as 25% and 20 to 30 mile an hour north winds, and we very well could see a repeat of the red flag fire weather conditions that we had earlier this week.
Tell me on the red flag conditions. I mean, Montgomery County's seen a lot. We had West County, we had a big one yesterday at Fire Tower. Tell me a little bit about it.
We don't normally in our area, because of the Gulf moisture and the southeast flow, we don't normally see red flag warnings in our particular area, because that's generally in areas that are drier across the central and north parts of the state of Texas. But what we've seen, obviously, with the lack of rainfall and some of the passing fronts and the drier north winds, that we have had conditions with our recent drought where we have reached extreme fire danger.
What about a lot of these still, you've got a burn ban in effect, people still seem to ignore them. What can you say to these people? I mean,
we actually we believe that our burn bans are working. The message is out there. We have signs, and we're working with the news media. We seem to be getting a lot greater compliance. We're responding to fewer and fewer violations of that.